So the next of the Flash files you can do will be similar to what Wix has with the sliding. We'll call it sliding images. So the first thing I'm going to do, and you can just take the measurements from me, is I'm going to use grab to find out how big it should be. And I've already actually got it here, but I'll do it again. So approximately 1,280, let's say 450. So new, same thing, okay. Down here, 1280, 450. And I'll probably need to work a little bit zoomed out. And if you haven't adjusted your work environment to be looking like this, you probably should, like I did in the first video. And 50 is probably a little bit too far in, so let's go 60. So in terms of images, it will take a little bit of Photoshop work for this one. I'll just take maybe some of my images that I had already from the beaches, my different layers here, and I'm going to fast forward through selecting them and putting them on the background. So the background will be different colors. Again, 1280. Make sure you're working in pixels, and do make sure you're working in pixels. Sometimes people do get mixed up here and it's too late by the time they're finished. It's going to be pixels, 1280 by 450. And I'm just going to pick colors that I think will work. Paint bucket, and it goes. And so now I'm going to go to, for the simplicity of this, I'm just going to go again to this file that has all these images and select the sailboat and maybe the palm tree and whatever, and put them on the solid background. So this I will do right now and fast forward through it. But one thing before I start is I'm going to go to 100% to do it. Double clicking on the magnifying glass. And in terms of selection, don't take too much time doing this, and try to find something a little bit easier than I'm finding right here. Like that's probably going to be tough, but I'm not going to worry that these are perfect selections because I just want to do this quickly to give you the idea. And you'll notice that this is still selected, so Apple D. And so I'll quiet down and do my selections, and here we go. So I'm in the middle of doing a not great selection. I'm going to copy it, go to this, paste, move it around, and just for argument's sake, I'm going to leave it like that and do a couple of others. And since each one of these will have to be saved separately, I'll just do one at a time and then close some of my other files just to keep myself organized. So this is done, it's ready to go. I've got a couple more to do. So I'm going to go File, and just save as. You don't need to go save for web, just save as a JPEG. So again, making sure we're in the right place. And this is Photoshop work, so I am going to keep my Photoshop files, and I'll do my JPEGs as well. So Photoshop files, this is going to be for sliding, I'll say for sliding 1. And I'm just going to keep this all in the same beach website stuff that I was doing with the other videos. And so that's PSD, just in case I want to come in and change this later on, which I definitely will. And now I'll save the JPEG. File, save as. This is going to be for my Flash work, so probably I'm going to go over to my Flash. And in my Flash, I might as well make another folder for images, for Flash. And this is going to be for sliding 1 JPEG. And save. And to keep it easy on myself, since I've already got the PSD and the JPEG saved, and this is exactly the right size, I'll just maybe delete this layer or hide this layer and change the color of the background and just work with the very same file. Paint bucket. Go to this layer and find something else that I can select. And jumping in here, so again, it's not the greatest of selections or images to put in there, but you get the idea. And we're just using the same file. So in this case, I'm just saving the JPEG. So this will be in the Flash folder, images for Flash. That's for sliding 1, this is for sliding 2. And it's going to be a JPEG. And I'll just quickly do one more. Again, using the same file, hide that layer, change the color. So now I go back to Flash, and I've got those 3, which I first of all want to bring in to the library. So the easiest way, surest way, is to go File Import to Library. And we're starting to get a little bit complex with our organization, but it should make sense. Beaches in Flash, in images for Flash. Oh, I didn't save that other one in the right place. But anyway, these 2 first. There they are. And that other one that I didn't save in the right place. Back there. Each one of those, that can just be deleted. Each one of those needs to be converted into a symbol. So drag it on, doesn't matter where, control click, convert to symbol, and I will call this sliding 1. Delete it. Sliding 2. Delete it. And sliding, oh, this is the other one that I didn't do yet. 3. Alright, so now for the actual Flash stuff. We've got our symbols ready to go. And if you look over back at Wix, the idea is that one slides slowly as the other in front of it slides quickly. So we'll start with one of them, with 1 right here. Make sure that it clicks in. You can see the dotted lines. And we'll call this, well, layer 1's probably fine, in fact. So we'll have 3. The first one stays for a little while. 1 1000, 2 1000, let's say 2 seconds. So if we're going to go 30 frames per second, then it stays up for 60 seconds and doesn't do anything. FN F6. And then it moves across the screen. Look at this one, how far it moves. It moves, okay, your camera moves about halfway. So we're going to have it over the next, what would it be? Half a second. So half a second would only be 30. I'm going to go, well, I guess let's go 15. So 15 would be 75. That might be too fast. It seems to me like it would be too fast. Let's go 20. So over 20 frames, almost a second, FNF6. It's going to move about halfway across. And I'd like to have my ruler up there so I know where halfway is. 12, so around 600 to around there. So have it go to about half, to exactly 600, just so I make the others go exactly the same way. Whoops, and make sure it's snapped at the bottom. And let's classic between that and see what it looks like. I think it's got to go a little bit slower. So I'm going to move that keyframe to 90. So it's going over 30 frames. And over those 30 frames, we look back at this one. The other one is going completely over it. So this next one's going to start to move in at exactly the same time that the other one, but it's moving the full distance. So from here, the second one is going to start. Oh, I need a keyframe, FNF6. It's going to start completely off. Make sure it snaps perfectly. And over the same time span, it's going to go completely over. So click here, Fn F6. And don't let that other one confuse you, just hide it. So by the time we get here, this is completely over top of the other one. Snap perfectly in place. Like that. Control click, classic tween. Unhide the first layer, and let's play it. Yeah, that works. So then, that second one is going to stay for the same amount of time as the first one did, which was 2 seconds. So 60 more than this is 150. And I am working at small keyframes. Oops, not tiny, but small. So I'm going to take this then for 60 to 150. Click, Fn F6. So it just stays there. And then it does exactly what the other transitions did. It moves slowly off. So it moves halfway over 30 frames. So here we go, over 30 frames. Fn F6. It moves exactly halfway across, or I guess I went to 600, so let's go to exactly 600. I've moved it. So it went from here, perfectly centered, to here, halfway off. Control click, create classic tween. I'm going to hide it, and as it goes halfway off, the third one is going to come completely on. So Fn F6, number 3, starts completely off. And over the same amount of time as the other one went half off, it comes completely on. Fn F6. Snap it. Control. Classic tween it. And show the other two. And play. Command Enter. Yep. And so then it's going to stay, almost finished then. It's going to stay for the same amount of time, which is 60 plus 180. So we're going to go to 240. Click Fn F6. And now in terms of the transition, again, how are we going to do that? Back to the beginning. So at the end, it has stayed. It needs to move off. So it moves off over 30, 70. Fn F6. 600. Tween. And as it's being pushed off, the very first one is coming back in. And it's already down there. And at this point, let's just hide the others. At this point, that first one is there. So I think the best thing to do in this case is to put a keyframe after Fn F6 and just say it's gone for now. So I'm going to click it and it's gone. So that's the keyframe event there. It was shifting over and now it's just gone, but it doesn't matter because that other one is over top of it. So we're still looking at just that very first layer, and we're saying as this flash SWF wraps around, as that one's being pushed off, it comes back on. So now I'm going to go back to that layer 1, Fn F6, and I'm going to bring it back. And I'm going to bring it back off. So over 30 frames, click Fn F6. It comes completely back on. And I'm just going to run this to see. I think I'm correct with this. That's good as before. This is good as before. And now, yeah, kind of. Alright, I'm just going to try quickly to figure out what's going on there, that last one. Oh, yeah. So the problem is that this is below that. So that stuff has to go on a fourth layer. I hadn't done this before exactly right now. So let's do a new layer on top of 3. And I think we can just, if you're following exactly what I've done, I think we just drag that up there. Let's try it. I think that probably solved it, right? Because I think you get it, the stacking order was incorrect. So now this first one, which is now the last one, is over top of that. So let's see it. Orange is over purple, blue is over orange, purple should be over blue. Yeah, so now it is complete, except that we want to put on the text. And if we put on text, and now you should call it layer 1, you should call it layer like 4, and make another layer, which is for your text. And the text is there all the time. And where is the text? What is the text? It's like that. It's in the middle, blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to do too much here, but it'll be there the whole time. So I'm going to click on frame 1 here, do my text, and in the middle here, go to my properties, make it a size which is big enough, and you get the idea. So that will stay there as the images animate. Don't worry about that. Animate in back. Lovely. That's it for this one.